Emily had felt like her husband had been acting strange for a while now, and she had her suspicions, but could never come up with the evidence. Not until she found one particular Christmas photo from last year. She immediately knew that this was all she needed to file for a divorce from Peter completely on her own terms. What was that man doing with his hands? Emily heard her youngest son, Peter, scream her name from upstairs. She made her way to the attic as quickly. When she finally got up the stairs, she found Peter intensely staring at a picture. She breathed a sigh of relief that nothing seemed to be wrong and that he just wanted her attention. When Peter noticed his mother had joined him upstairs, he handed her the photo. "Look, Mom, I found something we can use as Christmas decoration." When Emily saw the picture, her eyes went wide and she nearly fell off the stairs out of pure shock. How was it possible that she had never noticed this before? What had her husband Tommy been keeping secret from her? But to better understand this situation, a bit of backstory is required. Before we start our story, smash the like button, make sure to subscribe, and hit the notifications bell so you won't miss any new stories. The Ericksons were a young family of 5, Emily, her husband Tommy, and their 3 children. They had moved into their new home in Colorado only a few months ago, and things were going great. No one would expect it all to unravel. Although the Ericksons were a very close family, the truth was that none of the 3 children were biologically related to their father, Tommy. All 3 of them, however, were Emily's. Emily had given birth and raised them with her ex-husband, Stephen. That marriage had ended 2 years ago, and with good reason. The divorce had been messy and very chaotic for the family, but the marriage had not been any better. Stephen was a serial cheater and possessed a very manipulative attitude. For a long time, Emily had found herself trapped in his constant web of lies. But after a sudden crash in her reality had led to the truth. Although Emily had suspected that Stephen constantly lied to her, she chose to trust him. This all proved to be for nothing when the truth came out. A former colleague, and now revealed ex-lover of Stephen, arranged for Emily to receive all the evidence of Stephen's unfaithful behavior. Even as Emily stared at the evidence, the truth was undeniable. Stephen was a serial cheater. His infidelity shattered her trust, and soon she began to question everything about him. Her doubts proved justified when she discovered he had been stealing from their joint account and their children's trust funds. Fed up, Emily filed for divorce, making it clear she wanted no further contact. While she refrained from involving the police, Stephen's indifference was evident. He didn't even fight for custody. The divorce turned messy when Stephen contested paying child support, claiming it was unfair. Emily insisted she needed the funds to support their 3 children as a single parent. After a lengthy legal battle, the court ruled in her favor. Following the ordeal, Emily moved her family to Colorado for a fresh start. Adjusting to her new life as a single parent proved challenging, but she persevered. After months of focusing solely on her children, she realized she had neglected her own social life. One evening, Emily decided to unwind at a local bar. It was her first time out alone since the move, and she was both nervous and excited. There, she met Tommy. His friendly demeanor quickly put her at ease, and the 2 spent hours chatting. Their connection grew rapidly. After a successful first date, Tommy became a significant part of Emily's life, quickly integrating into her family. Yet as their relationship progressed, Emily couldn't help but wonder if she was setting herself up for another heartbreak. Emily felt worried that their relationship was progressing too quickly, but she also feared that voicing her doubts would cause Tommy to distance himself. However, Emily was faced with an unprecedented situation. Within a month, Tommy was already talking about marriage. Emily was taken aback. Marriage was too big a commitment to rush into, especially after the disaster of her first marriage. This time, in spite of her fears that Tommy would leave, Emily voiced her concerns. However, her worst fears were not realized. Instead, Tommy made it his mission to convince her differently. Emily knew that her children loved him, and Tommy had proven to be a good man in the months she had met him. Emily finally reconsidered, and after 3 months together, the pair tied the knot. Emily was excited about her new life with Tommy. It seemed for the first time in a while that she would be making some positive turns. But she couldn't help but still feel somewhat worried about the whole thing. It didn't help that her new husband was behaving a bit strangely. First, he surprised her and insisted on taking her last name, arguing that it would be easier for him to make the change than her and the kids. Also, as the weeks went by, Emily couldn't shake the nagging thought that she didn't know much about Tommy. He never said much about his life before meeting her and instead evaded all her probing. His story was that he was an only child who was orphaned shortly after he started college. He claimed he remained single after a short relationship in college, and like her, he had recently moved to Colorado. This was why she had not questioned a lack of friends or family at their wedding. But now that all seemed suspicious. Perhaps it was her history being constantly lied to by Stephen, but Emily could feel her trust in Tommy unraveling. He seemed far too comfortable with their family setting for her to believe that he had been an only child with no family, or that he had no experience with them. The doubts continued to grow. But every time Emily had a concern, she was able to explain it away logically, or found herself eager to maintain the happy home she had built for herself and her kids in Colorado. But how long could she live keeping her suspicions at bay? She knew that it would eventually eat away at her. The pair had been happily married for 9 months, and Emily had gotten into the habit of burying her concerns deep down. It was Christmas time, and the entire town was getting ready for the holidays. A time of joy was about to be ruined by a revelation that would rock Emily's world. The family was excited to be experiencing a gleeful Christmas for the first time since their parents' divorce. Emily knew how much the holidays meant to her kids and wanted to make Tommy feel like a part of the family. She figured this would be the perfect time to connect with Tommy's extended family, but would this be what she had hoped for, or a disaster? Not only was it a chance for both their families to connect, it was also an opportunity for Emily to put her doubts to rest. Emily decided she would invite Tommy's extended family over for Christmas dinner. Once her planning was complete, Emily shared the news with Tommy, but his response was not what she imagined. Emily had not known exactly how Tommy would respond, but she had not expected him to be so against the idea. He immediately shut down her plan once she expressed it, showing no willingness to consider it. Even more, he seemed to be angry at Emily, his anger increasing as she tried to get him to calm down. Emily was caught off guard. She had never seen Tommy so angry before. The whole thing was a confusing experience for Emily. To think that the first time Tommy would lose his temper at her, and in such a way, was when she was trying to do something nice for him for the holidays, was barely in contact with them. Emily was very thoroughly upset. Her eyes began to fill with tears as she stared at Tommy in confusion. Finally, seeing what his rage was doing to Emily, Tommy took a step back and calmed his emotions. Apologizing, Tommy explained that his previous family situation was a difficult topic for him, and that Tommy had one more confession to make. It was one Emily had expected even less than the revelation of his estranged family. Tommy admitted that he didn't really like Christmas. It was not a holiday he looked forward to fondly, but he had not wanted to do this yet because of how excited Emily was about the holiday. But now that Emily had planned something so elaborate and alarming, Tommy felt it was best to let her know ahead of time. The holiday brought back sad memories and reminded him of a time in his life he didn't want to revisit. But this was also something he didn't really want to talk about. Emily was left stunned after their interaction. Both bombshells were things she had not expected, and now she found herself debating her next steps. However, as deeply as she thought of Tommy's words, Emily could not put to rest the nagging feeling that she could change his mind. Emily was happy to have some direction once more. She made a plan that was set to go into motion a few days from then. The plan was simple. When Tommy headed to work, Emily would spend the day decorating the entire home with Christmas ornaments. She was certain it would bring some much-needed Christmas cheer. But would it? Emily grew more excited as the days went by. She decided to let the children in on her plans and felt it would be a great bonding Christmas experience for everyone. However, Emily's plan met its first hurdle. Finding the decorations. The problem was the last place Emily had seen them was the last place she ever wanted to be. Emily had some family Christmas heirloom decorations that meant a lot to her and the kids. It was important to Emily that the kids be able to use the decorations once more, but unfortunately, the last person to see and handle them was her ex-husband. After hours of searching, Emily was blown away when her children signaled for her. They were all in the attic, and behind them were boxes filled with the Christmas decorations, stuffed away in a corner and hidden behind Tommy's box of luggage that he had brought with him, but he rarely touched. Emily was overjoyed at the news. Knowing she didn't have to get in touch with her ex or buy new decorations eased the worry on her mind. Turning to her youngest, Peter, and wanting him to be as much a part of the experience as his older siblings, she tasked him with bringing the boxes of decorations down from the attic. However, Peter was not sure what boxes were filled with the decorations and which ones belonged to Tommy. The young boy made a quick decision. He would open all the boxes and take a quick look to decipher which one of them was for Tommy and which ones had the decoration, but what he would find left him stunned. Peter moved through the boxes with youthful zeal, opening each one until he stumbled upon something unusual in one of Tommy's boxes. He handed Emily a card featuring a picture of Tommy with a young family, his wife and kids. Shocked, Emily recalled Tommy claiming he'd been single for years before they met. But the photo, dated last Christmas, showed him wearing a wedding ring. Overwhelmed, Emily's mind raced as she struggled to process the truth. Unable to reach Tommy by phone, she waited for him to come home, anger and confusion building. When Tommy arrived, Emily immediately confronted him, flinging the card at him and demanding answers. Tommy hesitated, then admitted the truth. He had still been married last Christmas but had been in an unhappy union. His ex-wife, Danny, had vowed to take full custody of their children, leaving him desperate. Fearing financial ruin, Tommy decided to vanish and avoid child support. He moved across the country, erasing his tracks, and married Emily to solidify his new life. Emily, devastated, realized she had been manipulated. Tommy's insistence on taking her last name now made sense. He was hiding. Emily's past experiences had prepared her to act decisively. She kicked Tommy out, filed for divorce, and ensured he couldn't contest it. Additionally, Emily's lawyer informed Danny about Tommy's actions and offered legal assistance. Danny painted a different picture of Tommy. He had not been forced out of his children's lives, but had willingly walked away. He was a serial cheater, and his infidelity had ended their marriage. Emily sympathized with Danny and was glad she could now leave Tommy behind. Out of this grim ordeal, Emily and Danny forged an unexpected bond. Their shared experiences led to a close friendship and a new tradition of celebrating Christmas together with their families. Their story shows that even the darkest moments can lead to unexpected and fulfilling connections.